Okay, so here is our Unit 3 practice exam. This is part 1. This is just going over the slope-intercept form, the standard form, and point-slope form, calculating slope, and all that stuff. All right, so here we have an equation, 6x minus 8 equals 24. This is in standard form, and it wants us to rewrite it in slope-intercept form, right, which is in the form of y equals mx plus b. Okay, so we have to solve for y. First step is to get y by itself. Okay, so we're going to take this 6 and we're going to move it to the other side of the equation, and when we do that, it changes to negative. The way to think about it is subtract 6x from both sides. Right? So when we do that, it's going to become negative 8x equals negative 8y, sorry about that, negative 8y minus 6x plus 24. Okay? All right, but we can't have our y variable negative, and it can't be more or less than 1. Right? So we have to here divide everything. We're going to divide everything. Divide by negative 8. Okay, so we're going to divide this term by negative 8, this term by negative 8, and this term by negative 8. So negative 8 divided by negative 8, and divide this by negative 8. Okay, so negative 8 y divided by negative 8 is just y. That's why we chose negative 8. Okay, now negative divided by negative is a positive, leaving us with 6/8 x, and then plus a negative divided by a positive is a minus, or positive divided by a negative is a minus, right? And then 24 divided by 8 is 3. Okay, now this 6/8 is not reduced, so we can reduce this into 3/4. 3/4 x minus 3. So our slope-intercept form, when it's all said and done, is y equals 3/4 x minus 3. And there you go, you're done with that one. All right, next one. We have this graph, and it's shown on the coordinate grid. And write it in point-slope form. Well, in order to write it in point-slope form, we need the slope, and we need some points. Okay, so let's find some points and slope. All right, so let's take a closer look at the points on this thing. And we'll take, here's a point. This is a good point. And this point looks like it is 7, and 8. 7 and 8. And then another point that is nice to pick off here. Here is a 4, a 4, and a 6. 4 and a 6. Well, we look at this, we know it's going to be a positive slope. Okay, here's a positive slope. And my change in x from this point to this point, or excuse me, my change in y is 2. Okay? And my change in x is 3. Right? I have a change in x of 3. Change in x equals 3. So it goes from here to here. You can also see, hey, it goes from 4 to 7, which is 3, and from my y's go from 6 to 8, which is 2. Right? So my change in y was 2 equals 2. And remember that my change in x, my slope, let me go ahead and back off here. My slope equals my change in x over, my change in y over my change in x, right? And I know it's positive. I know it's positive because it goes upward like this, and my change in y was 2. My absolute value of my change in x was 3, so it's positive 2/3. Equals positive 2/3, or you can pick off your 2 points here and just name one A and name one B, but you really don't have to do that here because you can see the graph. It's positive. It's a positive slope. So you know it's a positive 2/3. Okay. So now putting in point slope form, you set up your equation. Set up your equation. Your y minus a point of your choice equals your slope. Let's go ahead and drop your slope in there. 2/3 times x minus the x from a point of your choice. And we'll go ahead and choose, how about we do 4, 6? Okay, so we're going to choose 0.4, comma 6. Okay, so we're going to take a 4, and we're going to drop it into here. So 4x minus 4, and then we're going to take our 6 and drop it in here. Don't have any negative values to deal with, so we're not going to change any of these signs. And if you have picked a negative value in here, I'm not sure which one you'd pick. Maybe that one's close enough. That one might, but yeah. So anyway, these are the good numbers to pick from up here, is these ones here. Okay, I grabbed this one from the internet, or I just made this one, so they're close enough. All right, so my point slope form, when it's all said and done, is negative 6 minus y equals 2/3 times the quantity of x minus 4. So there's your answer there. Okay, now I'm going to rewrite this in standard form. Guess we got to rewrite this using standard form. So our standard form is going to be our ax plus by equals c. Okay, so a coefficient of x and a coefficient of y equals our constant. So we have to clear our parentheses. On the left, it's pretty easy. It's going to be y minus 6. And then on the right, we have to clear our parentheses by distributing the 2/3 into our binomial. Right? So remember, all of these are over a 1, right? So we're going to multiply 2 times x and then 3 times 1, right? So this is over 1 and that's over 1, right? So this is going to give us 2x over 3, and then it's going to give us a positive times a negative is a negative, a 2 times a 4 is an 8, and then a 3 times a 1 is a 3. All right, so ax plus by equals c doesn't give us the opportunity for any fractions, so we're going to multiply everything by the biggest denominator, which is, we have 3, so we're going to multiply everything by 3. So if I have purple parentheses is a multiplied by 3, indicates multiplied by 3. So we're going to multiply that by 3, multiply that by 3, multiply that term by 3, and multiply that term by 3. All right, giving me with 3y minus 18 equals, the 3's cancel out, so 2x, and then minus 18 again. No, that's not right, minus 24. Minus 24. All right, so now I don't have my x's and the y's in the same spot, so I need to move this x over here. And when I do, it changes this x from positive to negative. Right? So it's going to leave me with negative 2x plus 3y. And then this negative sign this negative 18 doesn't belong on the left-hand side of the equation. All right, so I'm going to move this negative 18 to this side of the equation where my constants belong. All right, so it's going to change it to positive 18, like that. So I'm going to combine the negative 24 plus the 18. So I'm going to do a negative 24 negative plus an 18, and that's going to be equals negative 6. All right, now I'm not really content with my 2 being a negative value, so I'm going to multiply everything by negative 1. Right, all that's going to do is change the signs of all of these terms. So it's going to be 2x minus 3y equals 6. Let's move that down a little bit so you can see it. So that's my line in standard form. 2x minus 3y equals 6. So there you go with that one. Pause while I turn the page. Okay, so here is a problem that gives you the opportunity to show off how you can use the difference of 2 points. It gives you 4 points. You don't need to use all of them, right? So you have, this is where you identify the 2 points that you want to use to determine your slope, right? Because that's asking you to say, hey, you need to put it in point slope form, right? So the first thing you got to do is figure out your slope, okay? Because you have a bunch of points. You can pick any of these, but you don't know your slope from these, okay? You don't have a y-intercept either, because none of these x's are zeros. So you're stuck with always got to find your slope anyway. So I would choose the numbers that don't have any fractions, because that's going to make the math a little easier, right? So I'm going to choose this one to be A, and I'm going to choose this point to be B, right? And I'm going to say my slope equals my change in y over my change in x, and then say my change equals my point A minus my point B. Okay, I'm going to change this color to a burgundy or something, to a purple, just to color code better. Here we go, my point A and point B. Here we go. All right, so now I'm going to go ahead and make it easy on myself and color code and pull out my points so that they're stacked right. All right, this is going to be equals this minus that, and that's going to be my y from A and my x from A, and then minus my b, my y from B, and my x from point B. Okay, so let's go ahead and identify these right away so we can pull them out and make it easier and combine it. All right, so let's get my A's. So my y from point A is 6, and my x from point A is -3. Okay, then my b, my y from point B is 9, and my x from point B is 12. All right, so there are all my points, kind of all laid out and nice and easy to identify. Okay, so now we'll go ahead and fill in the blanks. All right, so I got my blue numbers. My y is on top, my 6 minus 3. y a x a, okay, and then I go with my b's, minus, I don't have to put, my minus is already there, so my yb, which is 9, and my xb, which is 12. All right, pre-staging equations is helpful. Okay, so now I'm going to type in my information. All right, I got a 6 minus 9 is a -3, equals a -3, divided by a -3 minus 12 equals a -15. Okay, so a negative minus a negative is a positive, right? So in a 3 divided by 15 is a 0.2, or a 1/5 equals 1/5. Right, so for every 1 up, it goes 5 over. Okay, so this is every 1 up, it goes 5 over. All right, so I know my slope. So from there, it's pretty easy to identify my y minus, pre-staging my equation, equals my 1/5, that's my slope, times my x minus, now I just pick a point to drop in. Okay, so I'm going to, how about 9? 9 has no negatives in it, or I could pick A. Let's pick A, just to show you what happens when it has negatives in it. All right, so my point A is -3, 6. All right, so my -3 goes into here. Right, it's going to be minus a -3, so that minus turns it into a positive, and I put a 3 there. Okay, because minus a -3, I probably wrote that backwards. So minus a -3 turns it into a +3. Okay, so that's what happened here. That's by pre-staging that negative sign is easy to turn it into a positive when there's a negative sign there. And then that 6, that just goes right here with y. It's already there. All right, so that's how I answered that one. Okay, then I have this point right here. I have a line that passes through these 2 points, 3 and 4, negative 8 and negative 12, and I got to write an equation. I can choose my form. Right, just like anything, I need to find the slope. Okay, so I'm going to name this one A and this one B again. That's A and that's B, and just like anything, my slope equals my change in y over my change in x, and I'm going to say my change equals A minus B. A minus B. So this equals my y value of A and my x value of A, and then minus, sorry about that, my y value at B and my x value at B. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and pre-pull out the thing so it's easy to fill all these out, pre-place my negative signs, and go ahead and pull this stuff out. So I got my y of A, my x of A, and then my y at B and my x at B. I always put y on top of x because that's how it is in the equation, just like that. Okay, so I got x is 3, y is 4, all right, and then x at B is negative 8. Don't forget the negative signs, and negative 12. All right, this will be a little interesting here. Okay, so I got my blues, 4/3. Then I got my y's, my purples. So it's going to be negative 12, and then negative 8. See how it changes the negative signs to positive. Okay, so now, because a negative minus a negative is a positive, right? So now I do 4 plus 12, which is 16, right? And then I do 3 plus 8, which is 11. This is 16/11. Okay. So from here, we do an equation where we go or do any line here that we go, we can use any point slope form. Okay, so we can do any point. So I'm going to do stage my x and my y. M is my slope, which is 16/11, and then I'll use 3/4 here. Right, y minus x minus my 4 is my y value, my 3 is my x value, and there I have my equation. Y minus 4 equals 16/11 times x minus 3. Okay, now I have a line passes through these 2 points, and it has a slope of 6. Write the equation in any form. All right, this one's actually pretty easy. So I have a point and I have a slope. Why don't I use point slope form? All right, so I have a equals a y point minus equals a slope times an x point minus. All right, write my slope in there, which is 6. That's 6/1. All right, and then my y is a 3.8, and my x is a 6.7. There's my equation of the line in any form. I have answered the question asked. Right, that's that. That one was pretty simple. Okay, so that is the first 2 pages. Moving on to 6 here. Well, that's the equation block for number 5. All right, so here we have a line's x-intercept is 8 and its y-intercept is 2. Right, so its x-intercept is 8, 0, and its y-intercept is 0, 2. Right, so now I got to find the slope. Okay, so the slope equals change in x over change in y, change in y over change in x, right? My change is going to be a minus b. We'll call this one a, call this one b. Okay, so we'll go ahead and pre-stage my ya, xa, right? So my y value is 0, my x value is 8. Okay, and then yb is 2, xb equals 0. Okay, so this is going to be equal to, stage some minus signs. Okay, my ya is 0, my yb is 8. Let me put equal signs, not to be confused with negative signs. Okay, and then my x values are 2 and 0. All right, so it's going to be negative 2 over 8, and it's going to be equal to negative 1/4. All right, so I have my slope of the equation. Now I also have my y-intercept. Right, this is my y-intercept. So I'm going to write my equation y equals my slope, negative 1/4, negative 1/4 plus my y-intercept, which is plus 2. All right, so there's my equation. Y equals mx plus b. X, forgot the x. Mx plus b. All right, so there's that one. All right. So the next one is a word problem. Now I have this tank of water. Let's draw myself a good little equation here. All right. So a tank of water is filling at a rate, already has 55 gallons of water. Okay, and it begins to fill it. It fills, so it has 55 gallons of water already. 55 gallons. So we're going to say this is the volume of water. And this is the time. This is the time 0. Okay, 55 gallons of water. And it fills at 8 gallons per minute. And then at 25 minutes, it has some amount of water in it. All right, so this would be, my x value is 0 and my y value is 55. Right here, my x value is 25 and my y value is unknown. Okay, so find the volume of water at 25 minutes. Okay, well, and we got to write an equation that helps with this. All right, well, my y volume equals, my slope of this, right? My slope of the equation times my x plus my b. All right, well, my b is 55. Right, this is 55. All right, because that's where my y, and that's my starting point for y. Can I figure out what my slope is? Well, 8 gallons per minute. 8 gallons. Well, this is a look at my my units here. This is a change in y over a change in x. Right? Gallons per minute. Gallons per minute, or a change in y over a change in x. Does it give me the slope? It does. It gives me the slope, right? So my slope equals 8, right? So I can say that y equals 8x plus b, right? So y equals, at 25 minutes times 8, 25, look at some unit analysis going on, 25 minutes, right, times 8 gallons per minute, all right, plus 55 gallons. I know y is a gallon. I'm trying to find the volume of water. Volume is a gallon, right? So here's my y equals 8x plus b, or 8x plus 55. 8x plus 55, right? And then my equation working that out is going to be, well, these cancel out. Gallons plus gallons equals gallons, right? So I'm going to do 25 times 8. 25 times 8 equals plus 55 equals, my answer's going to be 255 gallons. Okay, so there you go. Hope that answers some questions and gets you prepared for the exam coming up.